Today we're going to be looking at one of the trickiest punctuation marks in the English language, the semicolon. It might look really tricky to use, but by the end of this short video I'm going to show you how and when to use them in your writing to really impress your 11 plus examiner. So here is what a semicolon looks like. It joins two sentences together that could stand alone but are closely linked. Here's an example. Sentence 1, the storm raged all night. Sentence 2, the streets were flooded by morning. Now these two sentences make complete sense on their own. However, they are closely related to one another because the streets were flooded because of the storm that was raging all night. Now, we could join these two simple sentences together using a conjunction like so. This would be the sentence if we did that. The storm raged all night, so the streets were flooded by morning. Now, that sounds great. However, if we really want to impress the examiner, we could be a real punctuation pro and join those two sentences together with a semicolon instead. Let's take a look. We've got the same sentence here. The storm raged all night. The streets were flooded by morning. We've joined our two sentences together with a semicolon instead of a conjunction. Both parts make complete sense on their own, and the second part is closely linked to the first part of that sentence. Now, another important thing to remember is that both parts must make complete sense on their own. Let's take a look at a different example. We have, I wanted to join the football team. I practiced every day. This would be correct. Again, the first part makes complete sense on its own. I wanted to join the football team. The second part also makes complete sense on its own. It is a full sentence. I practiced every day. The second part is closely linked to the first part of the sentence. It's talking about football. Now, let's take a look at the second example and see why this version is incorrect. I wanted to join the football team because I practiced every day. Now, the first part of that sentence does make sense on its own. I wanted to join the football team. That one's fine. Now, the second part doesn't make sense on its own because I practiced every day. We don't start sentences with because. Therefore, that second part isn't a complete sentence. It doesn't make sense on its own. It needs the first part. So a big tip there is we never use a semicolon before a conjunction. That would make it incorrect. Okay, let's have a practice now by completing an activity. I have a challenge for you. We're going to read 5 sentences that all have semicolons, and it's your job to decide whether the semicolon has been used correctly or incorrectly. Okay, here we go. Sentence number 1. The storm was fierce. Trees were torn from the ground. What do we think? Correct or incorrect? Now this one is correct. The first part makes complete sense on its own. The storm was fierce. And the second part is also a complete sentence. Trees were torn from the ground. And hopefully you agree that the second part is linked to the first part. The trees were torn from the ground because of the storm. Okay, let's have a look at sentence 2. He studied hard. He still found the exam tricky. Okay, so do both parts make sense on their own? And is the second part of the sentence linked to the first part? What do you think? Okay, it is correct again. He studied hard is a short sentence that makes complete sense. And he still found the exam tricky is also a complete sentence. Okay, let's have a look at sentence number 3. He wanted to play football, but it started to rain. Does each part make sense on its own? Could they both be a complete sentence on their own? What do you think? Okay, I wanted to play football is a sentence. That part is absolutely fine. But it started to rain. That bit isn't a complete sentence. It needs to have the first part for it to make sense. And again, it's a conjunction. It's starting with the conjunction but, and we never use a semicolon before a conjunction. So that one is incorrect. Okay, let's have a look at sentence number 4. The old mansion creaked in the wind. Its windows rattled like chattering teeth. Lovely simile there as well. Okay, does each part make sense on its own? Could it be two separate sentences? And again, is the second part closely related to the first part? Okay, this one is correct. The old mansion creaked in the wind makes complete sense on its own. Its windows rattled like chattering teeth also makes sense on its own. It could be a complete sentence. And the windows rattling is related to the old mansion. They're part of the old mansion. Okay, let's have a look at the final example. The cat hid under the sofa because it was scared. Okay, let's make this the best one yet. Are both parts of that sentence, do they both make sense on their own? Could they be two separate sentences? And is the second part related to the first part? Okay, this one is incorrect. So the first part does make sense on its own. The cat hid under the sofa. The second part doesn't make sense on its own because it was scared. Because what was scared? It needs the first part of the sentence for it to make sense. And again, it begins with a conjunction because we never have a semicolon before a conjunction. Because it doesn't make complete sense on its own, the semicolon doesn't work. We have to either have the conjunction or the semicolon, but not both. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that you found that really helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more 11+ tips. See you next time.